much all for joining on our weekly Zoom meetings. Today we are going to talk about PhD and master's opportunities and applications. First of all, I'm going to read out the rules. First one, please keep all your microphones muted and turn off your videos because we have a large number of people joining. So please have your videos turned off and your microphones muted. The second one is questions will be after the presentations. Yeah, so if you have questions, please note them down in a paper or on the chats. We'll take in questions after the presentations. Yeah, so I'm going to do a 30-second moderator introduction. I'm your moderator for today. So my name is Sharon Omojah. I hold a bachelor's degree in arts geography from Moi University, Eldoret, Kenya. I'm a geospatial data analyst by profession at NatureServe Systems Limited. I'm an open data advocate, advocating for data for sustainable development goals and disaster response and recovery. I'm an OpenStreetMap Kenya certified drone pilot, but I'm a certified health robotics specialist, certified by Robotics, University of Pennsylvania and MIT. I'm a member and I serve in the Women in Geospatial Network. This is a global professional network to promote gender equality in the geospatial industry and academia. So that's just little about me. I'm not going to take the spotlight. Our main course for today are our panelists, which I'm going to introduce shortly. Yes, so the topic for today is PhDs and master's application scholarship. Yeah, so the reason we decided on this topic was because of the future belongs to young people with an education and the imagination to create. So that's one of the quotes from the former US President Barack Obama. So there's so many students, there's so many people out here looking for opportunities and they just don't know how to go about it. Yeah, so the topic for today is like if you're that one person, maybe this is the and you're going to learn more. So the agenda for today, first I'm going to introduce the panel team. We're going to have an audience that is the writing a motivation letter, the scholarships and the racism. We're going to get into a few case studies of some few countries. We're going to have an advice for PhD aspirants. We're going to have other links for the DAD, the major Germany scholarships, that is the resources in country and in region. We're going to have some 3 minutes in break. And we're also going to have a case study that is going to be presented by open discussion. Yes, so I'm going to introduce the panel team today. We have Mr. Hameed Musaibu. Hameed is a current PhD researcher, economics in Australia. Previous firms is Empirical International Nigeria. He has worked for Transinex in Singapore and University of Malaysia. Our second panel team is Irene Kaberere. Irene is a current MSc student at the current student in USA, MSc in International Sustainable Tourism. Previous firms she has worked for is International Humanity Foundation. Our third panelist is Chris Miyinzi, a current PhD researcher in economics in Australia. Previous firms are SIATS, ISIPE. Our fourth panelist is Rahma Mwakisingo. Rahma currently is doing an MSc in Earth Observation and Urban Planning in Netherlands, University of Twente. Previous firms she has worked for Mombasa County Government. Our fifth panelist is Mr. Kelvin Kihindas, currently MA Public Policy and Admin student in Kenya. Currently, he works at Busara Center for Behavioral Economics as a compliance and ethics lead. Previous firms are Ipsos Kenya and SC Nielsen. Our sixth panelist is Maurice Osewe. Currently MSc Agricultural Economics student in Lianjing University, China. Previous firms, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Airtel Kenya, and Kesref. We have one of our panel team who is absent with apology, that is Lista Mirarwa, who is an MSc student, MSc JS and Remote Sensing in Ireland, previous firms Cairo and Cambridge. So she won't be attending. And our last person for the team is a pharmaceutical student at Germany. Currently, he's an independent software developer. Previous firms, Property Finder, by United Nations. So Mr. Brian Pondi is going to start the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly, just to confirm.
Yes.
Yes, Brian.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, today we are going to discuss about, now definitely it's about scholarship, master's and PhD applications. Yeah. So, yeah, basically, why I decided to also contribute and greatly talk about this is because before I went to Dubai, because I got like 2 of us, one in Netherlands and in Germany, but then I decided to pursue career first. And then now I'm back, then I want to study again. And I've also worked in with research and people in PhD, who had PhD and stuff. So I tend to have gotten a lot of information while working with them. And this is why we're having this discussion to try to help our fellow Kenyans and anybody interested to pursue studies either abroad or locally. Okay? So my main thing here, I'll try to address, but I'm not perfect. I'll try my best based on I'll share the knowledge I have, and then the guys also who have the case study will be able to share content based on the countries they are in. Okay. So based on the statistics you guys filed in, I see most of you guys have bachelor's degree, followed by master's. Then I believe PhDs may be crazy, and if there's someone else missing, but I think it's in the audience, it will be one of the panels. Then there is a person for diploma and secondary education. No, this person for secondary is want to gain knowledge pretty early. For certainly for the guys in diploma, this will focus on masters and bachelors. I don't know how many bachelors across the globe have scholarship and such. So for now, for this presentation, we'll focus on masters and PhD. Okay, for scholarship regions, you guys, the ones who have applied or are interested in is mostly Europe, then followed by US and Australia mostly. Then China and among other countries, then back to Africa, the motherland. So people who have applied for scholarship here is about like 55% who tried and 45% haven't tried. Those who have ever gotten a response are pretty less, I think 10% compared to like the rest, 90%. Okay, so we'll try to see how to improve these numbers. That's our hope. Okay, so the background is quite diverse. So this was word cloud. I just generated based on your backgrounds, which admin, sociology, public health, environmental science, the people in agricultural economics, there is computer science, there is GIS, the data. So it's a quite diverse background, and it's good that our panel is also quite diverse, which is great. Okay, on the keywords for challenges, scholarship, motivation letter popped up all over, master's degree. This is based on the audience, so many people have bachelor's they're targeting for masters, funded scholarship. There is issue about fear of racism. Yeah, we are Africans and black and going to a quite diverse country or a country that's not your color might be quite a challenge to people. So definitely our panel will talk about that, if there's experience and what not, how they are coping up with it. Because yeah, to be honest, in every country you tend to find maybe a racist person. But yeah, we'll talk more about that. And so this is the main focus for this. On the based on the challenges, if we narrow down, it's actually the three major ones: application process, motivation letter. The third one is scholarship. Okay. Then the fourth one is about it just combines several like opportunities, English proficiency, racism, etc. Some will come from the questions. I believe so. If you feel something you need to be answered, you just type the question during the panel presentation. Okay, so straight to the point, the application process. Most of you are usually maybe not aware, but the best thing to do is usually when you want to do a scholarship, the number one is usually you just need to research early. Right now we're in the internet age and there's tons of information. So the second point is usually Google, definitely, right? It will link you to search and get universities. And even LinkedIn will enable you to talk with the current students who are there. That's how to network. Then there are groups like the WhatsApp group that we have, or Telegram, or any other groups. You really need to join that. And after researching early, then and maybe found out something that's interesting, then you need to get all your necessary documents, which is the second process, which is attested documents, CV, reference letters. There's some countries that you need reference letters, but then there's some countries that need just you to mention the referees, they contact them directly. Then some usually need the MSc or PhD proposal. It's usually optional, dependent on the master's program or the PhD program plus the university just requirements, okay, all the scholarship requirements. Then there's GRE, this is country specific, doesn't apply to all, but mostly US and Canada. Then TOEFL or IELTS, the English requirements, also dependent on countries. For my case, Germany usually doesn't require it for Kenyans. They tend to find our English pretty much good. Most actually European countries, but for US, they usually want to, it has approved, by the way, even if you can't speak. Then cross-check your motivational letter. Now, motivational letter definitely is the key component here. It has like 30% weight, right? In all the application, if you put it 100%, motivation letter is like usually a key factor to determine your admission. Okay, it has the biggest weight compared to every other thing. Then number 4, submit your application. Worst case, you should submit your application early. Worst case scenario should be 2 weeks before deadline. Now, like for example, for Germany, Germans like paperwork. So for example, even if you apply online, most universities will still prefer you to submit hard copy, right? By DHL or another service provider. So it's usually good to submit your application early, not last minute rush, okay? Then after that, you just wait for the feedback. It's all the best. You get it when it comes back, you share it. And plan to leave the country and go to enrich your knowledge, okay? So the second area, motivation letter. So this is where the weight lies, yeah? It's pretty much a key thing. And most people usually maybe struggle with it. And so the panel will talk about that, but also give insight from mine based on the so far. I can say I've gotten an admission 3 times now because I did apply twice for another Germany, and after turning it down, going to Dubai and coming back, applying again now, gotten another admission, right? So it's motivation letter is usually one, your professional goals. You really need to define your professional goals for that studies, right? And which also goes hand in hand in contribution to the society. Because let me tell you, why do first world countries give scholarship to students from third world countries? They believe in capacity building. Okay, so capacity, that's their goal, and you need to set you around that, right? So why the specific program? Maybe the program is also popular in your area of field. Definitely you're applying maybe because it's popular, or there are some units that will help you achieve something. You really need to define that. I don't know if I'll have to share mine, for example, but I've shared it previously for those based on the research and the data WhatsApp group, I believe so. I shared a while back, for example. So maybe the program has got some quite nice units or some quite good lecturers that you want to work with. That will depend. Why you are the right candidate. So at times maybe you don't have experience or have less experience. You just need to talk about the skills that you have. It depends on for masters or PhD. Maybe PhD you did write some papers. You're good at it. You're good at specific kind of research where your professor focuses on. So you really need to specify this kind of stuff, yeah, the skills and maybe the little contribution to your society, right? And then why that country. So for this motivation letter, for example, for my case, another thing you should really never forget when everyone knows about SDG. If not, I think you should Google about it. It ends in 2030. That's Sustainable Development Goals. So for me, I usually tend to define like the Sustainable Development Goals I'd like to contribute to. There are so many things. Okay, when you're applying for a scholarship or for an admission in a developed country, SDG is key and everyone knows about that. Then there is this thing about African Development Bank High Five, right? Where it covers agriculture, health, and whatnot. So if your topic falls around this area or if your research interest falls around this area, those are the things that you can mention. You can mention about this Agenda 2063, which the African Union set up, yeah, to be achieved by the year 2063. So when you have facts and figures and talk about this stuff and talk about how your studies in such a developed country will help you achieve these things in Africa, and not only help your country but Africa at large, it will really help you to set you at par, right? So yeah, so for my case, I'm usually fascinated with agriculture. So for my case, I usually just write about how agriculture is the main livelihood in most African countries, contributing like to Kenyan economy, for example. Yeah, even though right now, and another thing also is about there's so many things you can also base on, like for example, the Jubilee agenda, the Big Four agenda. It's kind of not picking up, right? But as long as it's there, you can also use it in your motivation letter just to incite my government or the country is focusing on Big Four agenda and you want to contribute to this specific agenda. So it's about just doing research before writing your motivation letter and write it nicely, right? How you going to impact your community, Africa, and stuff. And that makes it here, main don't emphasize on your humble background. Nobody cares about you coming from a humble background saying, no, I can't afford, blah, blah. No, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares that you're poor. People care about that you're smart and what you want to deliver and do, right? And your contribution to it. So nobody cares whether you came up from Kibera slums or what. It's the impact. If you're in Kibera slums, you better put how you have done a small project, maybe cleaning or what in Kibera, than putting that you are poor and you live in Kibera. You see, maybe that's what makes you not get the scholarship if you're mentioning it like that. Then don't show intentions of never coming back. Yeah, because at times you might go there and get greener pastures, or even that's your mindset. Maybe economy-wise, your country is not doing well. All right. So you plan to, I'm going to study then stay there. Don't mention it. You should show intentions of coming back and helping the community. That will make you thrive, okay? So the another issue is scholarships. People are not quite aware of scholarships, and so here is so for my case, I'm mostly usually focused on Germany because I'm in tech. I tend to love Germany a lot, so I'll be a little bit biased towards it. But then again, we've got a diverse panel. They'll discuss further, right? So for masters, there's usually that. This one, DAAD, right? That's key. You should really know and be aware of it. Maurice, I think there are some people in waiting room. We can just approve them one by one. Okay, for you, then for PhDs, it's surely good to go via universities and research institutes for PhD. I'll discuss this further. I'm just leaving it there. Then for US, it's mostly great to get the funding or scholarship direct from universities. For United Kingdom, there's Commonwealth and Chevening scholarships, which are usually yearly, right? For Netherlands, there is OKP scholarships, which Rahma going to talk about. At least she's a beneficiary, and I believe she has also helped more people in the group. Then is this about Erasmus Mundus? This is one of the best scholarships because most guys are interested in Europe. I think you should be aware of this scholarship if you're not aware of it. And you should check because I believe the deadline is just next month, June, for most of the programs. The good thing about Erasmus Mundus is like you study in 3 countries. So you'll find, for example, you want to do masters in finance, they'll make first semester, you do it in France, then second semester you do it in Germany, then third semester you do it in Netherlands or Spain. So yeah, it's quite an interesting, it's one of the lucrative master scholarships out there. And since most of you are interested in going to Europe, you should look into it, okay? Then there's Australia Awards. So this one we have Chris, we can talk about more about it. Then there's about find a PhD or an MSc website. I don't know if you guys are aware of that website. Let me see if I can show, for example, just using a PhD as a case study. So just on Google, if I go find okay, find a PhD. There's this website, and there's a similar one for finding an MSc. So for example, if maybe I'm interested in anything that deals with machine learning, right? Because maybe it's a hot AI and machine learning, just for example. Then it will give me tons of, there are like 212 vacancies, right? Yeah, some deadlines are June and what. Most universities in the UK, but then again, there are several US. It's you to decide, filter and check, then contact the professors and then apply. Okay? So that's an example. They also find a master's, just the same where it's just one of the similar websites. Even though it's PhDs tend to have more funds than masters. So it's you to navigate and try to see. But also this is about find a master's. Okay, back to the slides. So, yes, there are usually adverts once in a while they come in, which we tend to find them in the groups. That's why it's good to be in the groups that deal with scholarships. Like for example, the one in WhatsApp. And then networking. Networking is key because sometimes you might have gone to a conference, then there's a professor from a certain university, maybe in the US or which other country, attending or presenting something, then and you align with the topic, you really like what that professor does, then it's about you to go and incite that professor and network so that when he gets funding for projects, he can consider you when you apply. And that works. It has worked for a couple of people in my network that I know. Okay? So you can imagine at times attending this conference and networking do help. So there are other issues, racism. Let me start with the racism. Racism, yeah, it's there to exist. It's there. It's something that will never end, even though we are trying to fight it or not. You'll try to find a couple of racist people. So for my case, let me say I'm going to Germany, right? So for example, Germany, there is this the right-wing party, which is kind of racist, don't want any foreigners in the country. And it's not even to do with black. They don't even want, even like Swiss or something. They just see foreigners maybe as a threat or something. Yeah, so there are some few cases you might experience racism, but you know your main goal. It's just like even in Kenya, at times you experience tribalism. So I usually don't see. It's just about finding a way to prove and just live there, because that's for me. But the panel will talk about the experience. For my case, I was in Dubai. Dubai was quite diverse, and it was not a country belonging to really anyone, because locals were 15%. So I never experienced any racism there, because I think everyone was a foreigner, knew that that's not their country. Because 85% of people in Dubai are foreigners. So I think that's it. But yeah, I expect to get some few subtle racism in Germany, but it's nothing that someone can do. Most of the people are good. They usually just be a few percent of people who are bad, and that's it. Okay, for GRE, so GRE usually matters when you're applying to US, and I think maybe Canada. and GRE is just about testing your quantitative knowledge and what analytic skills. So it's basically mostly has those English and high school mathematics in it. So the best place to do GRE in Kenya is usually the institute called Computer Pride, I believe. It's in Kenyatta Avenue. You can just Google Computer Pride Nairobi. You'll find it. I think it's around 30,000. Yeah. Then there's TOEFL or IELTS. I think most universities usually accept both. Some usually accept specific ones, so you usually need to do research in advance. Then opportunities, I think I can combine these opportunities we are going to discuss further, and I've already shared some. And career progression, yeah, so this one usually depends whether you want to stay in the country, or come back and help your country and Africa at large. This is usually a personal choice, so I won't focus on it that much, but yeah, once you study in a developed country, you can decide to become a global candidate, because at times this is the truth that you people already know that. So for example, even if I'm in Kenya and there's a job, someone with an American degree and someone with a Kenyan degree, there tend to be a bias you must shortlist the person with the American degree, definitely, or like a German, or just any degree outside Kenya, for example, right? I really don't know why, but maybe employers are just curious because you have maybe too much international exposure. But then it depends with the company. I can't speak much about that. It depends on the companies, yes. But then there's usually that bias. Like for example, there are some countries, if you go, they might tend to think if you just have a degree from Kenya, for example, maybe candidates who have a degree from another country, maybe a developed country, is way better. For example, in Dubai, it was funny. I was seeing that some jobs were saying in the job description they even say Western education preferred. So it was pretty funny. Yeah. So, but that's the truth. We live in a world that's unequal because yeah, it is what it is. So I won't lie about it, right? Because I've seen it. I've lived in Dubai for 1 year plus, and I've seen such kind of adverts. It is pretty strange. Okay, so a few places to consider. Definitely, you guys are most of you are chosen in Europe, but then again, the United States is the top one to consider, right? All countries won't fit here, but basically you can get to any country. There's Germany, Canada, Netherlands, Ireland, China, UK, Kenya and Africa at large. Africa, there are times you can go to South Africa, Ghana, Egypt. Like there's scholarship for all to visit all those places, even to study locally. Because some of you don't want to leave your country, or maybe family, you just want to do a study in Kenya. Yeah, so those are the options. I think Kelvin can talk more about that maybe later on. So we'll be looking to countries. So here I'm just using case for USA. So USA, the requirements, and I think we'll talk more about for MSc. This one I'm just looking on for PhD because my boss and a friend, a former friend, which he had his PhD in US and everything, and he was usually pushing me to study up to PhD. So he used to give me a lot of information. So this is what I'll focus on for now. But for MSc, Irene is, I believe, is here now. She'll speak about MSc experience in the US. So this is just mainly on a PhD. But I believe it also transfers to masters. So letter of interest, or why you want to study that, which I believe is also close to letter of motivation, is just the same, but they name it differently. Your CV, definitely. You need to do GRE, then TOEFL. Then they usually need 3 referees. They'll contact them directly. They don't need to write it when you are submitting application. Then there's copies of academic documents. Okay, so these are your bachelor's degree and transcript. Not pretty much. That's it. Then case for Germany. Why for Germany? If you look at right here under this lady with the gun, it's MIT facts. So I was just discussing with the team the other day that, for example, MIT alone runs on, if you check this expenditure in million, this is financial year 2019, right? one university in US gets like $3.7 billion. That's $370 billion to run research, right? To run research operations. So US has got huge budgets for research. And if it's a place you really need to consider, I believe it's one of the places you can start looking into. But the only milestone is GRE and TOEFL. And the good thing about USA, you can also, if you got good grades in your bachelor's, you just do GRE, TOEFL, and apply straight to PhD. You don't need the master's to do a master's degrees, because their PhDs are usually 5 years, and the 2 years they take you to class, and you learn what you expect, the knowledge that you need to transfer to the PhD. Okay? So the guy is still entering here. Modest, you can still approve these guys because it's keep popping up on my screen.
Yeah, I've done that. I'm doing that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Now, case for Germany. Where I'm heading come September, okay? So, Germany motivation letter is usually key. Then the CV, there's a Europe as CV format. You can usually download it. They usually need to have your picture and stuff. And then at least 2 reference letters. It's usually good to have that. So for them, you just get the letters from former employers or lecturers, and you are attached. Attested academic documents. So attested, whether a lawyer stamps it, or you can use the university, or even the Minister of Education usually do approve. So TOEFL, the English requirements usually not needed for most universities in Germany for Kenyans. Yeah, because I think maybe they have worked with us a lot, so they tend to know that we are good at English compared to maybe. But there are a few universities which still usually require an English proficiency, but very few. Most will accept Kenyans without it. Then at least 1 year experience. So this is maybe the bad thing about if someone wanted to finish the degree and straight go to masters, it's good. They usually recommend 2 years experience, but then they suggest when you have 1 year experience, at least they can give you the offer, because by the time you're getting into admission, you'll be almost completing 3 years experience. Then not more than 6 years since previous graduation. Yeah, so if you finish your bachelor's or a master's, they don't want the 6 year gap before you partake it. So you can see, for example, yearly in 2019, that if you go here right where the lady is, just below her, you will see that it's approximately 594 million euros. So yeah, for people to study abroad, okay, in Germany. But they also support local in country, you will come to see later. Now, if you want to study like a PhD in Germany, this is mostly content for MSc. For PhD in Germany, yes, you can either get that, but most people, the best case, you guys know about Max Planck Institute, Fraunhofer Institute. So you see, like for example, the US, one university receiving 3.7 billion in 1 year. German universities are not like that. They're not super funded with that money like that. But then Germany has got lots of research institutes. The 2 top ones are Max Planck Institute and Fraunhofer Institute. And they cover various subjects. So you can find like Fraunhofer, for example, has like maybe 20 labs. Max Planck has 10 labs, and they focus on different areas of research, okay? So you can apply for PhD directly via that advertised research, or you can ask a professor who works with Max Planck or Fraunhofer, among other institutions. And then when you go there, mostly the PhDs usually through work. So for them, you must do a master's. For Germans, PhD, there's no coursework, so they tend to assume that your master's may be sufficient enough to study, to do PhD research, right? So no coursework, initially like 3 years. Okay, so one advice for PhD students, aspirants, those who really want to pursue PhD. So always reach out to the professors in your desired field, their funding and project. So this thing is usually like a win-win situation. So the professor needs some people to help in delivering funded projects, while you also need a PhD. So that's how it mostly works. So they accept you in, but you work on their project, not your own project, right? And for me, I usually tend to prefer this because maybe I think I'm not super smart enough to come up with new ideas. Then I can use I can just go and work on a PhD where projects are funded and just deliver on the content, okay? So for example, this someone early last year, someone came to me and was asking me, hey, can you check this? Because no, early last year, but one, I think, yes, I was working in a research organization here at that time. And he just needed to know about this opportunity, about PhD. So he sent that proposal, he was trying to get funding for it and asking me to cross-check before he tries to get funding. Then I told him, hey, but you're doing a lot of work trying to come up with new innovation and whatnot. While so many universities across the world have got projects, they just need people to do the projects and they get the PhD and to get fully funded. So this is just an email here, which I got later this year. It was early this year. The guy is updating me about God. So I'll just read it pretty fast. Dear Brand P, I hope this email finds you well. After watching your recent YouTube video, which is quite impressive, I would wish to inform you that I finally got a PhD scholarship at Bonn University, Germany. In fact, I came to Bonn last year in October, and we'll be back in Kenya late April this year for data collection, which I think hasn't happened because of Corona. Okay, it exactly happened that I got the scholarship through a project, just as you mentioned in your email to me, that it is always easier to join a funded project. I am so happy with the direction you showed me. Thank you so much, brother, and continue inspiring others. So the guy, yeah, is now in Bonn doing the PhD that he wanted without asking for fund, without thinking of his how new project is. Because he's doing something that is funded by industry and the industry wants that solution, okay? So I usually tend to prefer projects compared to coming up with my own topic. I tend to prefer funded projects. But if you're smart enough to come up with your own topic, it's also possible to get funding. The choice is yours, okay? And an example, you can just search funded project or reach out to professors. How to get this? You just search the professors on top in your field, the field that you want to pursue. Reach out to them. Read out 2 papers. It's just a matter of like seduction, you know. Both of the same feathers flock together. Read like 2 papers of that professor. The topics that impress you. Email that professors because they usually make the email domains public. Tell that professors, I like this, and I really want to study here and work with you directly, blah, blah, blah. And the time that professors got funding or to expect some funding, you will have in mind. If the funding is there, just say you apply now, you're coming over, you see. So that's how it works. For example, existing projects, okay, let me just zoom here, share some. So this is just an example for the university that Chris is in, right? Because for them, they have done it way better than I expected. So you can see, but if you Google, you see, there's this available PhD project, right? Let me say I'm interested in matters geography, GIS, spatial, because I'm in that field, right? So if I go to technology, here, there are projects here. Development of a spectral imaging sensor for high altitude drone. You see, deadline is 31st May 2020. This is a PhD. Here is the supervisor. Before applying, you can, the email is there. You click it pops somewhere else in the email. You can click, talk to the professor if you like it, right? So all universities in developed countries tend to have projects. They just need people to do it. Here is Tasmania Institute of Agriculture. If you're into agriculture and stuff, here they have PhD deadline 31st July 2020. If you want to join Chris, you can start by looking into this, right? If you want to join Chris in Australia. And I believe all the fields are covered, right? So that's just one. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. So, okay, for that resources, DAAD, that is for Germany. Here the resources, I think we'll share the slides again. But then that Kenya, there's usually universities here selected, and the program will check out DAAD South Africa. So these are for in-country, they call them in-country and in-region scholarship. If you're a Kenyan and you want to study in South Africa, Ghana, or just Kenya, go ahead, you can check it out. And you can also email them. The guys are the contacts, they're there to help you. They want to support capacity development so kindly. And also we want to see us, our fellow brothers and sisters thriving. So kindly check it out. Okay, I think I was talking pretty fast, but it was clear. And Shaz, I think I'm done. Back to you.
Okay, yes. So thank you very much to our first presenter, Pondi Brian. So we have a 3 minutes break, and kindly, this is a reminder to those who have their videos on, please put them off. And another thing is, if you have questions, leave them in the chats. We'll take in questions after the presentations. Yeah. So the 3 minutes break will be a quick one. Just grab some water, and we'll go to the next presenter. Thank you.
Sharon, put some music for us.
The what?
Put some music, some cool music for us.
No, Chris can sing. Chris, I support you, bro. Go ahead, sing.
Sing like a frog, man.
Yeah. So okay, I have something to add.
Sorry, you're breaking, Sharon.
To everyone who did. So those following up after the call will. Okay, yeah, I'm saying that we'll be sending a feedback form to everyone who has attended, and after the call, we'll also upload this recording to the YouTube channel, so you can always get it from there and always refer. Yeah, so that's all. So I think you only have 1 minute, and then we'll go back to our next presenter. Thank you.
Hey. What?
You wanted music, please.
Okay, but that is a sad music.
Sad, no sad. You know, there's the difference.
Kennedy Ongo, you can unmute your video.
What's Dennis Kimani refusing to join? Huh? I've admitted him like 4 times.
Okay, seems he has technical issues.
Oh, maybe.
So I think we'll go to our next presenter. Please take it away. Thank you.
Yeah, which is Rahma. I think she'll just talk about her experience and process.
Morris, can you help me to unmute Rahma kindly?
Rahma, right?
Yes.
All right. Let me do that. Which name is she using? Is this still Rahma?
I think she's not in the meeting.
She's there. Sure. Maybe she's using the wrong name. Okay. Yeah, Morris, if you talk about your experience then, as
Sure. So all these they're not available. Eh?
Yeah, I'll cover for this session upon apology. Yeah.
All right. So good evening, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Morris. I hope I'm audible enough. Can you hear me, Pondi?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Morris Osewe. I'm a Kenyan by birth, but I'm a Chinese by location actually. So I'm in China. And a brief intro about me, I think, has been done. So those are just the basics which I brag about. So I'm a master's student actually. I've been in China for 3 years. This is my 3rd year. I came here in 2017. It's been a very wonderful journey, but you see, as you know, education also has ups and downs. So I really just want to briefly talk about some few experiences. Like I'm a beneficiary of the Chinese government scholarship. It's called CSE. So I was privileged to get a full scholarship for my master's education, which was really a privilege. So it's a good package. It comes with a lot of benefits, and it's something which I would really inspire someone to look for. And just like Brian has outlined in the presentation, the main thing here is like you have to look for a supervisor. Once you can communicate with supervisor, and if the supervisors look at your CV, in most cases they do hold like a virtual trial interview. They can call you for interview virtually over the phone or maybe a Skype. So if you wow the supervisor, then the supervisor will be able to write for you a recommendation letter, which will enable you to also secure a place in the CSE and getting the scholarship, as well as getting admission in the school. So it's really wonderful. So all this which Brian has listed, all that are necessary, like the motivation letter, your CV, the documents. But now, when it comes to the language proficiency in China, most of for people from Kenya, particularly, we are not charged for that because they feel we are good in English. So, but from friends I've seen, maybe from Asia, from any other part of the world, they always ask for the TOEFL. So you have to at least have it, for you to pass that part. And I saw some case like some around 4 people who had who have diploma. So I think I might be able to inspire them, because in China I've seen people who come for diploma. Though it's not a full package, but it's a partial package. They sponsor only the tuition. So and it's the tuition and the accommodation. So how you live, how you eat, all that, your personal effects, so that will now depend on you. It's also part of the CSE. So if anyone, you have a friend who is willing, we can always study chat and maybe see how we can help. So those who have the diploma and those who maybe have the high school guy, I mean the secondary guys, so don't lose hope. Things are out here, and people are really earning from the scholarship. Another thing is I want to talk about the career, like, I mean, how life is in China, how life, the education part, the education life, like as a master student, it's always not easy, but we always tend to focus on the beneficial factors, like the positive part of us coming to this place, Learning is stressful. I think even my friend Chris will be able to share that with you, that it's really stressful, and sometimes you can wish to go back home. It's only that your home is just not like near. If you could go to get like a bus home, I don't think people will be able to survive in foreign lands. It's somehow traumatizing and draining, But above all, we always put God first. Then we just do, like, you just put more effort into your work, because really that's why you're here. That's very beautiful, but it is what it is, because that's why we came to this place. And apart from the few cases which we saw after this pandemic had taken effect, China has really been good. We always don't feel so much racism in this place, but we saw different cases, some study cases like a month ago, which hit the headlines. But in my opinion, these people are good, because even in Kenya we have racism. So racism is everywhere. It's what matters is how you really perceive racism and how you really handle it. If you feel like it doesn't bother you so much, then you'll be good to go, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. We born differently. We have different aspirations. And also we have different way of working. So that is also racism. You understand that. So I'll just advise you guys, like, maybe a word of motivation, like, just get out here, do your thing, study hard, with the main objective of going back home with something. That's the most important thing. So things like racism, me, I always don't give, like, I always don't give head to that. Like, if you wanna discriminate against me, well, I would enjoy my cup of tea, because I know I'm here purposefully maybe for 3 years. Like right now, I think I should be heading back home, God willing, soon enough. So that does not even affect your way of life, your personal reasoning. You understand? So me, from my end, it's been really a wonderful way of learning. I've really learned a lot. I've really networked a lot. and these are the positive part of life which we should be able to focus on, you know. So I'm just trying not to repeat what Pondi has presented, because what he has done is almost maybe the feeling and the experiences that I also have. So I really don't have much, but I'm also good at answering questions. So maybe if there's a question or someone wants to know more about China, I think I'm more experienced now. 3 years in this place, that one makes me a partial Chinese. So I'm good. I'm good here. So if there's any question, I'll be here to respond. But you guys try out. It's really wonderful to be out here. You know, it opens your eye, it opens your mind, your brain, everything. Right? Anyway, thank you all for listening. And if I was too fast, we can always get back to the tape, you know. So thank you so much. I'm humbled, and let's feel at home. Let's welcome. Let's share. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think I'll just talk for Lisa. As you try to find Rahma, she's Rahma Mkoli. You guys can take and unmute her.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Rahma. Take it up.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, yeah. So, okay, I'm Rahma Mkoli, or otherwise known as Rahma Mwakisingo. They still apply to me. So I'm currently doing my MSc in Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation in Urban Planning, University of Twente. But okay, let's say it's under the faculty of ITC. Let's say ITC, because it's a bit. They're not really in the same building as University of Twente. We're just under them. So all I can say is that my experience so far has not been that bad. The Netherlands is actually a very cool place. The Dutch people are very, very friendly. That's the first thing I can say about them. So I'm under the OKP scholarship. It's one of the biggest scholarships in the Netherlands. So they require the motivation letter like everybody else, and also an employer statement letter if you want to get the scholarship, which can be a bit tricky for some people, because they end up being a bit scared, because they think if you're not employed, you cannot be able to get it. So let me just say, at times you have to find a workaround around it. So you can just find somebody who you know, or maybe somebody who you referenced in your CV to just sign the letter for you, because all they need is just proof that after you're done with your education, at least you're going to do something afterwards. So they assume they are giving you not assume, they say they give you the tools to better yourself as well as better your country. So that's why they need the employment statement. So actually that's like the major requirements. You need the employment statement and a motivational letter, and then you just wait for the results. So I can say the first thing that I noticed when I came here, I wasn't used to the cold weather because I'm from the coast. So I can tell you the first winter season was a bit hectic for me, but I kind of adjusted. So it has been okay. What else can I say? The Dutch weather is very, 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 very pathetic. So if you're planning on coming here, just be ready to buy some bit of warm clothing. Yeah. Okay. I can tell you something about ITC. For international students, the first time you come here, they give you accommodation. So you don't have to go look for accommodation for yourself. They host you in a hotel for, they give you like a contract for a whole year. So you have to stay in that hotel for a whole year. So the allowance they give you every month, you have to pay your rent from that allowance. So whatever remains, you can do whatever you want with it. So that's the way it goes. So yeah, they give you like, I think around 970 euros per month. And then from there you pay your rent from there. So after that 1 year that you stay in that hotel that they make you stay in, then you can look for accommodation elsewhere, which is different from a person who applies to the University of Twente directly. So the one for staying at the hotel is for ITC students only. But if you're in University of Twente, you have to find accommodation for yourself. So you can apply for the dorms at the university or look for student housing elsewhere. But for ITC students, you're automatically put in, it's called the ITC hotel. So you're automatically placed there for a whole year. What else can I say? The study program is a bit, I can say it's a bit of a pressure. I agree with Maurice. At times you feel like you really want to go home, which is very true. Because if you compare how you study, what all the studies are like in Kenya and here, it's totally different. You feel like you're actually going crazy. Because like for ITC, the classes run from 8:45 in the morning till 5:30 p.m. So you're always in class, you always have exercises, and you always have assignments, and you have deadlines to meet every other day. So it's just a matter of you, how you plan your time, but at times the pressure is very, very much. For the thesis part, I can say they're a bit better because the supervisors are great. It depends on who you get. So for that, they actually give you topics to choose from. From the topics that you choose from, then that's when you can design it the way you want. But first you have to choose a topic from the themes that they give you. You cannot, it's very hard for them to agree to a topic you deviate from. You choose for yourself. So that is one of the things that you have to keep in mind. You have to choose a topic that they have. Okay, so other than that, I think everything is great. The Netherlands is awesome. The beach is very far. Okay, I'm actually in a city called Enschede. It's like a 10 kilometers bike ride to, a 10 minutes bike ride to the border in Germany. So at times we cross over. Yeah. So, but you can always go to Amsterdam. It's like a 2-hour train ride from Enschede and also to Rotterdam. And let's just say the trains are good. Everything, the transport system is better. And please, when you want to come to the Netherlands, please learn how to ride. Please make sure you know how to ride a bike. That's like the easiest form of transport here. So I don't know if I've helped anybody. If you have any questions, you can ask me later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rahma.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
so thank you so much, Rahma. Thank you so much, Rahma. So if
You're welcome.
If you
You're
have
welcome.
a question, so if you have a question to a specific speaker, you can just write the name next to your question. But if it's general, just leave it on the chat. Thank you. So on to our next presenter. Pondi is standing in for Lista, who is in Ireland and absent with apology. Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, I'll just be brief for Ireland. Yeah, I think it's Ireland, if I'm not sure. So yeah, for that, it's pretty straightforward. There's usually the Ireland Fellowship. I'm trying to get it out here. Okay. So are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Ireland, yeah, Africa Fellowship. So for those who don't know, Ireland is next to UK, right? It's pretty close to UK, but surrounded with water, right? And it's a country on its own. So they tend to offer tons of programs. There's the Ireland Africa Fellowship Program. Though sadly the application for this year is closed. So probably next year. So you can see Kenya is here in the list. Okay. And so since most of you are Kenyans, I don't know if I have non-Kenyans in the audience, but yeah, most these are the other countries in Africa that reach Burundi, Eritrea. It's pretty straightforward. You just apply because there are different various programs. So there's agriculture, health, education.
Brian, actually I happen to know that Mary Maina.
this one. Yeah, he is a Kenyan beneficiary too. Apart from Lisa, whom you already know, they're not using a Kenyan who got MSc in Sustainable Agriculture and Rural Development. Yeah, so you should check out the Ireland is the MSc is also short, just like for UK. It's a strictly 1 year program. Yeah, they don't require a language which is ILS, but you first apply, then when you are eligible, they contact you to do the ILS. Okay? And it's around 20K or 30K to do the language course at computer pride. Yeah, she said she has never experienced racism in Ireland. And also shows the package is pretty good. Didn't ask on the number, but she says the money is good. Okay, yeah, that's it for Lista. Sharon, back to you.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, Pondi Brand, for being in for Lista. So next we are going to have our next presenter, right? Or we have the 3 minutes break. I think our next presenter. That should be Kelvin. That should be Kelvin Kihindas or Chris Miyinzi.
I can go on as you wait for Irene. Morris, is Irene coming?
I'm trying to reach.
Okay, I'm also trying to reach Hameed, so I can go on as you wait for them.
Right.
So, my name is Chris Miyinzi. I'm an agricultural economist. So at the moment, I'm doing my PhD in Australia, and the University of Tasmania. It's an island, the only island in Australia. So Brian has given a very good presentation. I really don't know what I'm going to add, but there are a few things I'm going to say them again so that for those guys who are looking for PhD scholarship, maybe can learn something. I can hear some echo. Kindly mute your microphones, please, if you're not speaking. So the first trick is don't wait for a PhD scholarship to be advertised. Just go to the university website, search your faculty. Most of those professors, they have their profiles there. So you can see Professor Morris is an impact assessment expert. You can see Professor Hush. She has experience in environmental economics or statistics. So depending on what you're looking for, and they always provide their emails. So you can actually see their research or career background. So once you identify a professor, do some research on the students he or she they have supervised. Hey guys, can you mute please? Or is my microphone? Because I'm hearing echoes. So once you identify a supervisor, just send an email, just a simple introductory email. For example, just tell her or him, you have gone through the profile and you have noticed that your research interests align with hers or his. Then give your research background. For example, say you are an economist, you have done research in climate-smart agriculture, or you have done research on nutrition, or in any field. Then ask the professor if they have an opportunity for a PhD student, because most of them, they have funding, they're looking for students. After that, write a short concept note, just 2 pages on your research idea. You can always consult us or anybody who is doing PhD, or there are many guys who have done PhDs. You can always share your idea. They can help you to make it better. And also have a nice resume. And if you have a publication sample, you can also send. So send 3 things on that email: a short concept note on your research idea, your CV, and a sample publication in English, because English is the official science language. I'm sure if you can do this 10 times, you will call me for a glass of wine. You'll get a scholarship. So another thing is you need to identify a country you want. Do you want to go to Canada? Do you want to come to Australia? Do you want to go to Germany? So some of these countries like Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, it's very easy to get a PhD scholarship if you really want to get one. So Brian, can take me to my slide. So, you know, as a PhD student, you need to build your brand. Hey, Morris, able to mute those guys? Or is it my system that has a problem?
Maybe it is yours, but let me check it out. I'm handling that. Okay.
So you need to have a brand, and the internet has provided as platform. It's very easy. So you need to have accounts. For example, Orchid is a place where you can share your research and have like your CV, summary of your CV there. It's a very good platform. You can always share your link and they will see the research you have done and what was your master's topic and what's your experiences, if you have ever received funding in the past and many things. Google Scholar, you can also create a platform with Google Scholar, and also LinkedIn, and also Researcher ID. So Researcher ID belongs to Web of Science, for those guys who know EndNote. And also we have Mentory, so they can also create a profile there. So it's all about like creating an account with these sites, just like Facebook. Then you can always put your summary there, your papers you have published, and when you apply for the PhD, include a link in your email, on your email signature, so that they can click and see what you have done. Another thing that is very important, I know we avoided sending it, is age. So age is very important when you're applying for your PhD scholarship. So make sure you try to apply before you reach 35. As anybody, whether you're a female or a male, just try. But if you're already in your 30s, chances of you getting a scholarship in some of these countries like University of Wageningen or in the US, they start becoming limiting. So you might consider coming to Australia or going to other easier countries, because age is an important factor in PhD application. So if you're in your 30s, your choices must be limited. So sometimes you might just decide to be realistic with your career goals and decide which countries you want to go to. And somebody talk about permanent residency. So there are some countries you study there. If you really want to be a citizen of Canada or Australia, so it depends. Some countries it's hard to get permanent residence and some other countries easier. So it depends on the goal you want. Do you want to come back to Africa? Although Brian said you're not supposed to show the intention of coming back. So you don't show it, but when you get there, it's easier to get the documents and become a citizen. So they say like publish or perish. So my advice is for you, if you're really looking for a PhD scholarship, try your best to publish or at least have your master's in English. If you can use it to get a scholar, but if just try to publish. You don't have to publish in an Esther journal, just have something out there. Then another thing is like social media discipline. Guys, you know, these people, they look for your profile on Facebook, on Instagram, and all those social medias, TikTok. So try to be disciplined on what you do on social media, because they're gonna search you, and if you like how you use social media, it can deny your scholarship. It's a true thing, because I happen to know a friend who was given a scholarship just because of how he uses Facebook. He used to share good things there, and they saw and they told him, oh my God, we have seen your Facebook. We think you are the right person. No need for an interview. This is our offer. So try to be careful. Another thing, you can consider starting a professional blog. You don't need to be blogging every day, just like one blog per year. For example, if you're a statistician, you can decide to have a blog on data analysis. I've never seen a blog on data analysis. You can have a blog, for example, you just say how to do linear regression in R, and you explain what is a linear regression as a blog, and have a code in R, put it on GitHub, share the link on the blog. It will, when applying for some of this scholarship, include you could include a link of your blog. It could add you marks. Also, you need to join a professional body. For example, for me, I'm an agriculture economist, so I'm a member of African Association of Agricultural Economics and also European Association of Agricultural Economics. I'm also planning to join American Association of Agricultural Economists. They are not free, so you sacrifice, you pay like $30 per student for 2 years. You can check. African Association of Agriculture Economics, just in the University of Nairobi, you can always confirm with them. So they have a friendly rate for students. I can't remember how much I paid, but I paid closer to around $30, like 3,000 for 2 years. When they have conferences, they'll notify you, and you can always attend if you can. For example, some of them, they come to Nairobi. If they have a conference in Nairobi, why not submit an abstract and attend? For those who are working with international organizations, you are lucky because you can have an opportunity to attend international conferences. Please take that advantage. And the brand Pondi took such advantages, like take advantage, travel, present your research ideas. You're gonna meet professors in these conferences. Tell them you're looking for PhD scholarship and they'll give you. Another thing is, like, you can also try to learn a new language. If you want to go to Germany, please, you have Duolingo and many other platforms. Just try to learn basic German. When you apply for that scholarship, show them you know some basic German. It's gonna add you some marks, especially during the interview. So last but least, Brian told me to expand on Australia Awards. So there is a program called Australia Awards. And this specifically for those guys who are looking for masters. And I really encourage you guys, you can try it because it gives you 2 years. It's a very nice program. And for any course, whether it's IT, statistics, any, you choose a university. And Australia has very good universities. For example, University of Melbourne is ranked among the top 20 universities in the world. You could decide to do your master's there, but the only condition of Australia Awards is when you finish, you have to go back to Africa. So unfortunately, the applications for 2020 is over. So for those who are connected with us on the groups, we're gonna let you know when the application for 2021 will be on. I'm not sure 2021 or 2022, so that you can apply. And if you need assistance in application, you can always reach to us, especially Kihindas. He can help you in submitting these applications. So that's all I had. So maybe just because you are sharing experiences, I'm in Tasmania. It's an island. Australia is a good country because it allows you to work. So as a PhD student or as a master's student, you can work 20 hours in a week. And actually in Australia, the payment is good because it doesn't matter what you do, whether you are sweeping, whether you are working in a supermarket, whether you are teaching young kids, you'll be paid like $30 per hour. And if you work 20 hours, you already have $600, and sometimes you have stipends. So if you are working and you don't want to affect your source of income, you might consider coming to countries like Australia because you'll, apart from studying, you can also work and make some few money for your future, so that when you come back to Kenya, you have your papers and also you have some money you have been working for. And you remember, when you convert those dollars to Kenyan shillings, you know what I mean, the economists in the house. So if somebody has a question about Australia, you can always reach to me, and I'll hand over the meeting to Sharon. I've received an MS from Hameed. He won't make it, so let's not expect Hameed to come. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Maurice and Kelvin, and all the organizers and the participants for listening.
Yes, so thank you very much, Mr. Chris Miyinzi. So our next presenter is Mr. Kelvin Kihindas, a behavioral scientist. So please be on your best behavior, turn off your video and mute your microphone. Thank you. Kelvin.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, everyone who is in the mornings here, and good night, Maurice, who is in China, and everyone who is in Australia. So my name is Kelvin Kihindas, popularly known as Miles or Chipkadi, for reasons I do not know, but maybe if you are closer to me, you may be knowing this. So I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining this webinar, for the organizers and for the moderator, Sharon, and for the participants, and also for my colleagues who are here. So just before maybe I dive in to maybe my session, I just want to have like a very quick preview about this. So I work at Busara Center for Behavioral Economics as a compliance and ethics lead. And my job is just to make sure that the research that's being conducted in that particular organization is making sense and is ethically approved by both the international and national uh, bodies. So my boss currently has 2 PhDs and is working with, is assistant professor, and I'm saying with assistant professor at Princeton University in USA. And you can imagine has 2 PhDs and he is an assistant professor. So that now brings in more questions. And I think he has been in the game for around 8 to 10 years. If you people read so much, you may have had the only professor who has come up with a CV with like, he came up with an article called Why He Wasn't Hired. So he is Professor Johannes Haushofer. And the last year, 2019, Nobel Peace Prize, Esther Duflo and her husband, Abdul Narji, were his first employers. So why am I now bringing in my boss's name here? Is because is somebody who has really challenged me. I think for those people who are very close to me, I've always told them I don't want to go back and do master's degree. I don't want to go back and do PhD. And everyone thinks that I am a doctor. People think that I'm a PhD holder. No. But I think Professor Johannes, Haushofer Johannes, is somebody who has really touched maybe my art and my heart now, just to continue like the journey, academic journey, so that maybe I can explore the world. I can understand why, for example, somebody like Rahma will come from Coast to go to Netherlands. Somebody from like, for example, like Brian, why will Brian come from Kenya to go to Dubai and then Germany? Why will, you know, kind of like I would understand. So Sharon has introduced me as a behavioral economist. So in a nutshell, behavioral economics, which is not really an industry or a subject that is really major in Africa, is economics plus psychology. So it's just to understand how and why human beings behave when they're making decisions. We understand like economics is about decision making, and then we understand about psychology is about now human brains. So behavioral economics or behavioral scientists is about now why human beings make decisions. So now jumping into my role in this particular conversation is I want to talk about what has already been talked about with other presenters, Chris, Maurice, Brian, Rahma. It's about now the list of the documentations or requirements that are needed for a successful scholarship. So, Brian, maybe if you can just go to our Google Sheet. Good. So, first of all, I would want to tell you that the total people who applied for this kind of webinar, they were around either 259 or 279. And currently, I think the first slot that we got was around 95 people joining in the call. I think right now we have around 68, 71, but people are just kind of like joining in and going. But I think at the end of the day, we are going to be sending these recordings to everyone that's registered. So make sure that you get a recording for this. And another thing is that the reason why I have just decided now to tell you the number of people that registered for this particular call was from the responses that we got was people want to go to Germany, people want to go to Europe, people want to do South Africa, people want to go outside Kenya to to get scholarships. But the one thing that now hindering people not to apply for scholarship, it's what we call passport. So guys, before now you decide about applying for that scholarship, make sure that you have a passport. I know I can go to Uganda without a passport because it is under East Africa community. I can go to Tanzania without a passport. I can be admitted at the University of Dar es Salaam without that particular passport. But if you want to go to Europe, and when you're talking about Europe, we know we have many countries that make up of Europe. If you want to go to US, make sure that you have a passport. That's the first thing. Even before we think about our CV, we think about the scholarship application form. We think about like, I want to go to university. I want to go to Yale University, Harvard University. I want to go to University of Antwerp in Belgium. Do I have a valid passport? So that's the first thing we must be able to make sure that we have. And another thing is about scholarship application form. What Chris has spoken about is we have, if, for example, I want to go to Germany, what Brian was talking about. When I do so much research, desk research in Germany, I will come up with like a 50 best universities in Germany. And then what Chris say is, you go to that particular website of that particular university, and then you check through the requirements. The requirements for University of Antwerp in Belgium is very different from Yale University or LSE, London School of Economics, because what we have come through, or what I've just analyzed, is if you want to go to a scholarship, if you want to get a scholarship in London or Great Britain or UK, is you must have those language accreditation. But now, for example, like if you want to go to Romania, if I want to go to Germany, maybe I do not need the accreditation of language. It's not a must that I know English. What Brian was talking about. And so, if you want to go to any country, if you want to go to Ghana, if you want to go to South Africa, if you want to go to Germany, make sure you do your research so well. And I think from the presenters, what they are trying now to tell us is this: master's degree, PhD degree, it's not about where I will get something. It's about you digging inside, you digging deeper, you getting more information, you doing so much research. Scholarship is not about, I will apply for a job, I get an interview, I get in, somebody who knows me, and then he will connect me. And I think the first 5 minutes, when Brian was talking about, he said, it does not matter if you're from humble background. It does not matter who you know. It does not matter. If you want to go to MIT, and my two colleagues here, I want to name them. I know they're going to SMS me now. We have one who's called Esther, and there's another called Joel. So in January, we got a chance to do training to PhD students from MIT, University of Columbia, Harvard. And then we have like 2 universities from East Africa. And I know from that particular experience, how we were able now to engage and involve the MIT students. And Brian will tell you, MIT is, you know, when for you to be at MIT, you need to show your capabilities, not your smartness, but can you be able to decode this particular program, which is in your head, to the paper, to the real life situation. And that's the thing. So once you have identified the country you want to go for your scholarship, then now dig deeper, the best 20, 50 universities you want to be admitted to. Once they are now, you're going to get something called scholarship application form, where you're going now to fill. So now we have your passport, you have your application form. What do you also need? you need now your degrees. So in US, what they call about, you know, like in Kenya, we have like diploma. So in diploma, in US is a very other different name. And in Kenya, when you say you have a diploma, there is also another different name. So you should be able now to align with the language, the blurb that is being used in that particular country. And that's why at some point on the groups, I said, you can be able now to be admitted. If you only have a bachelor's degree, you can be able to be admitted for a PhD program. But you must be able to understand, you must be able to know this particular information before, even with your ambitiousness, before you register for that particular program. So your transcripts, your diplomas, your degrees, and your papers, are they certified? How do we certify? One, at some point, we may go to Commissioner of Oaths, who are lawyers in Kenya, or how they call in Canada, what's the best name in Canada? I'm kind of, who is Miguna? It's not a lawyer, but there's another.
Toronto, is it?
Barista.
Yes, barista. So in Canada, it's kind of like a barista. But yes, but in Kenya, it's just like a lawyer. Or you may be able to go to the Kenya National Examination Council to certify your papers, or you go back to now to the college or the university that you attended to certify your papers. So for those people who have forged documentations, this is now where the journey ends. But we have done some mistakes in the past, but we can always outdo them and make things right. So if you have a documentation which are certified, then now that's another step that you've taken. And then another thing is about purpose letter. So there is a good person who is very good, and that just like I'm going to give him around like 2-3 minutes to talk about like letter of motivation or motivation letter. That should be Brian Pondi. Just like he will be able now to give, but I know he talked about this, but again, I'm going to give him 3 minutes of my time so that he can be able now to talk to us about motivation letter. Because motivation letter is not about when we go and Google and write. It's about a very thoughtful process where you sit down, the way Maurice, Rahma, Brian, Chris talked about. It's about, if you want this particular program, then go and research more about that particular program. If you know about a doctor, like for example, I've just talked about Professor Johannes Saushofer, who is at Princeton University, Woodrow School of Public Policy. Then I'm able now to write my motivation letter regarding that particular school, regarding that particular faculty, regarding that particular professor. I want, for example, if I want to go to Berkeley, University of UCLA University in Berkeley, and I want to do political science, I may be able now to talk good about Professor Daniel Polsner, who has done so much about political science studies in Kenya and around the world. So letter of motivation or motivation letter, I think I'm giving like 2-3 minutes to Brian to talk about that. And then letter of recommendation, also this is a very important thing. So most of our professors, most of our lecturers are very kind of like lazy people and or very busy people. So what they usually tell us is this: go and write a motivation letter, and then you give it to me, and then I'm going to review it, and then I'm going to sign it. So these people are they're professors. They have classes for undergraduates, they have classes for master's degree, they are supervisors for PhD dissertations, they have their own consultations, they have their wives and husbands, they have kids, they're drunkards, life is coming down on them. So when they ask you this, please don't give up. Write that particular motivation recommendation letter and then follow up. Don't WhatsApp them. use email. Use email. Unless they tell you, call me, WhatsApp me. Be professional, be civil. Call them. Hey, Professor Rahma, how are you? I'm just following up with the recommendation letter that I emailed you 3 minutes ago. What I've just come to understand about Kenya, and when I say Kenya, it's about Nairobi. It's about the courtesy that people have. It's, you just discuss and call somebody, hey, mambo uko wapi, nini, ile recommendation letter unaweza niandikia. Man, this is a professor. Do you know how many years she has taken to be a professor? Not a doctor. Not a doctor, a professor, a full-fledged professor. It takes so many research, so many publications to become one. Then, now you need to push from your side, recommendation. And most of the time, they always need two. So if you are a cheeky student at university, then this is now where they tell you, siku za mwizi huonekana asubuhi. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think I'm making sense. So, but you can always now help them because you know yourself better, they know you, and then they can be able now to help you from there. Let us talk about curriculum vitae, resume. The resume that we're using to apply for jobs, it's very different from the resume or curriculum vitae or CV that we use now to apply for CV. I know we are very lazy people, but now put in more time, put in more energy, put in more interest on how you are coming up with your CV. A CV is your personal online thing. If, for example, Brian now gives me a CV and I've never met Brian, I can be able to tell you 30% of who Brian is just from reading his CV. Somebody has worked for 2 years, somebody just graduated in 2017, and he or she is giving me a 6-pager CV. And then what is on that particular CV? Hobbies and many hobbies. And 1-pager, it's all about referees. How many referees? 6 referees. I don't know how to categorize this. There's so much on Google. There's so much on that, on those particular groups. The way you see me like shouting until I foam forth on my mouth, it's about, I have been doing this since 2017. So I don't want to understand why people, we don't read this particular information. If you have a smartphone and you have internet, you can always dig deeper. How do I write a CV? How do I write recommendation letter? How do I write a CV in US? How do I write this particular thing? So the better thing with my job currently is every researcher that comes to Kenya, so Moderator Center has is serving 7 countries. So, and I am the person who kind of vets researchers who come to Busara Center. So every time they need to bring CVs to me, not that I'm kind of like a big person, but you know, kind of like when they are kind of like applying now for research to be done in Kenya. So normally we need to make sure that the research is being purported to be done in Kenya is kind of like go through the government of Kenya thing. So that's what I'm telling you, that the moment now they give me their CV, I can go through, somebody has like 2 PhDs, 2 master's degree, and I can see how a CV is being written in Norway, in US, and I can tell you for free. I've never seen a CV with the hobbies. It's only in Kenya, which is kind of like a very good thing. So I'll be sharing with you this particular Google Sheets, Google Doc, so that you can see how I've just explained to you. But again, it's also good because when you are writing your motivation letter, you should also now pinpoint your interest. If you are doing botanical, if you want to do an MSc in botanical, what are your interests? Those interests should also be on your CV. So I'm not just wishing away hobbies, but how are you presenting your hobbies on your CV? Standardized test scores is self-explanatory. GRE, GPA, ACT, CAT, and I think the only university in Kenya that we have like has like kind of like the GPA system from US is USIU. So I know there are two people who are on this particular call who are from USIU, so they understand. At some point they're saying like I had like a 3.63 out of 400 GPA, so they really understand. So that is also very helpful and very accommodative when you're now applying for university for scholarship in USA and Canada. And then lastly is an essay. An essay, I think everyone did it when we were doing first years, when everyone was in first year, we did like how to write an essay. And I think, unless if you really don't know, I think that now combines with letter of motivation. But again, is what I can tell you now, or what I can teach you now, train you now, is how to write an essay, because that needs another 11 hours uninterrupted on how to write an essay. But I think we have so many materials on how you can write an essay. Something to do with also portfolio for those people who are in production or masters of arts. Those who want to understand about like music productions or like photography, they're usually, or graphic design, they're usually asked to give like a portfolio. What is your portfolio? Who are you? For example, if you go to my company's website, you click like who is Miles Lagazi or who is like Chief Kavi, you will see like a very small paragraph, like now describing who Chief Kavi is. And then at some point you may be asked like because of like scholarships mostly should be given to those who are from humble background. Some scholarships are usually ask applicants to give their parents' financial information, including like tax returns. For example, just like you can say, if my father and mother are farmers, I can just say maybe they have not been applying for like no, they haven't been like being active on KRA if I am in Kenya. And then some also scholarship programs will ask about a medical report. So medical report and health evaluation, it's about maybe like they just want to understand. You remember when Rahma said that in the first like few months in Netherlands, you are being housed in a hotel, and also you just want to understand, because that university do not want now to take responsibility because maybe they have brought somebody, and I am not stigmatizing anyone, but I'm just saying that they just want to understand who are they bringing in their country. Because maybe you can bring somebody who has like, for example, like Corona 2023 in their country, and Corona 2023 is a sexually transmitted disease, and they don't know who you are. You're from Congo, and then you go to that country called Lithuania, and you decide now to infect like everyone. So they just want to understand where you're coming from. So if they ask you this, you can always go to any general practitioner or general medical practitioner, and should be licensed, and get this particular information and send with your application. So I think that will be my end of my presentation today. And then in the next like 3 minutes, I'm going to give Brian to talk about letter of motivation or motivation letter, because I think he has done this before, and he has also shared this two of his motivation letter on the WhatsApp group, one WhatsApp group that we are in with him. But other people who are from other groups, I think they didn't get it. But I think he will be able now to dissect and give more information about this. Thank you very much for listening to me. And if you have any other questions, everyone has my email address, everyone has my number, everyone knows me. And you can always DM me, PM me, reach out to me for more other information. Asanteni sana, mkuwe na jioni njema for those who are in Kenya, and good night to Australia and China people. Brian, if you can hear me, you can take it over.
Okay, so yeah, I think the best approach I'll do this is some people joined late. I'm still seeing some people asking about motivation later, and also the still question about it. So I'd explain these points. We'll upload maybe the video in more detail. So I'm just gonna share maybe one of my letters, the initial one, the one that I got an offer of earliest in 2018 and turned the offer down and went to Dubai instead. Okay. So I use that for the start because I usually maintain the same concepts when I apply to various universities. Okay, so let me see if I can bring it here. So this is just one example of what I mostly use, right? So you can say I did my research first. So I knew about the African Development Bank has high 5 agendas, right? So I'll just the African Development Bank has 5 goals, dubbed FDB, high 5 in partnership with the African Union to be achieved by 2063 in Africa. As a continent where Feed Africa is a goal I desire to help achieve, as food insecurity has been a key challenge in sub-Saharan Africa, especially in the rural agricultural society. So you see, I'm focusing on Africa at large. Then again, I'm talking about my government, which is the Kenyan government, has 4 agendas known as the Big 4 agenda, which you all know, but then I said important to this application is food security, okay? Then for the past 2 years, I focused on this. I was talking about what I've been doing, right? And even if you don't have much experience, internship or undergraduate, graduate, you can use. Like Lista didn't have much experience. She did postgraduate diploma at Cambridge, then internship at Calero, and she got the master scholarship for Ireland. Okay, then you see, I talk about more facts. In Kenya, the gold economy, agriculture contributes 26% of the GDP. 75% of Kenyan population live in rural areas. So you see, I just explain I'm validating my fact, and I talk about the drought that impacted both 2012 and 2017, when Kenya faced the food crisis and price going up by over 10%. You see, then I was talking about my former company was inserted in big data, blah, blah. And then why I wanted to study in Germany for that. Germany has got 2 kinds of universities and universities of applied sciences, right? So if you apply to University of Applied Sciences, they're more practical oriented. Like maybe every week, if you are doing, for example, computer science, let me use computer science as an example. In the University of Applied Sciences, for the normal university, you do more theoretical work, coming up with formulating hypotheses and stuff. But for University of Applied Sciences, they teach you the practical bits, okay? So I said, this way I'd like to pursue the master's in photo. I'll share this photogrammetry and geoinformatics at Stuttgart University of Applied Sciences, the strong practical approach of. So you see, I already knew about the education system of Germany and why I want University of Applied Sciences and not just the normal universities, okay? So, blah, blah, and that then I say like the 2 years plus my education, I have. Then I also talked about my contribution here. I was just summarizing about my contribution. At Musaibu, I use Python programming language to carry out Pearson's correlation, blah, blah, on satellite imagery, to identify agricultural degraded zones. You see, so you must have a contribution. That's just brief, but if you go here, professional goal, no, I haven't shown you, but the professional goal, I specify that after that I want to continue working in Africa, right? Because these tend to align together. Your professional goal and the contribution to society as the program, or the specific program, I said why, because I like the practical bits of the program. Why you are the right candidate. I talked about what I've done for the community, which I was working in agricultural research, helping the farmers. Why that country? Which also tends to relate to the German or the ambition. So if I go again to, if you see, I didn't mention that I didn't emphasize on any humble background. I never showed the intention of never coming back, right? Okay, yeah. So, and you can see that my future career after my future career, I think, is after completing the program is to continue working in agricultural sector in a capacity of geospatial data scientist with agricultural NGOs, you see, blah, blah, that are in close partnership with the African countries. This will enable me to contribute to 3 sustainable development goals. That is zero hunger, climate action, good health and well-being. So it's just what I was telling you. It's about doing research, knowing what's the goal of Africa, what's the goal of your government, what is your government fighting, what is even if it's county or ministry or organization, and how does it align to a target in Africa. It's just about mixing and doing research and setting facts and figures and how you are going to be beneficial to your country. Upon your return, that's dependent on you. Okay, there are some countries, for example, Germany used to say that they give you scholarship, but you should come back via that. But now they're even more lenient, because I know so many people who went to Germany and they never came back via that. Even Rahma knows friends in Netherlands who went to Netherlands via OKP scholarship, they never came back. So it depends, because even though at times they give you to go and help your country, but then at times they may be having shortage in that. And if you get a job immediately after finishing the program, nobody will chase you away that, hey, go back and help your country. Yeah, I think that's it. This one will need more discussion if some people missed it, but yeah, I'm open for more discussion. We can critique. I'm usually there to help you. Because it's lengthy, and that's it. I think I can back to Sharon.
Yes. So thank you, Kelvin. Thank you, Pondi, for the insights on motivation letter. So our last participant was supposed to be, our last presenter was supposed to be Hameed, but he sent a message that he is not in a position to join. So Mr. Maurice Osewe is going to stand in for him, and Maurice, kindly take the shortest time as possible because we have so many questions.
All right, thanks so much, Sharon. Actually, just a little bit of correction. I'm standing in for Irene, Irene, eh? All right?
Yes, Irene, US, you're representing, okay.
All right, so Irene is a Kenyan who got a scholarship and went to the United States of America. So she's currently in the US, and due to time differences, it's a bit early. It's really, really early on her side. So she's getting it hard to really connect with us. She sent apologies, and you may say like maybe 2 things. One is she says that there are a lot of scholarships actually to US, but the competition is so high, so high. Like she highlighted one called the Fulbright. I don't know whether you guys have been able to visit that site. There's a Fulbright. So she says that the English thing, this one, the proficiency is really, it's really important. Like for you to get to US as a student, you have to at least show the proficiency, like you can really speak, And about racism, she says like it's a normal thing, in that case, in the US we have the blacks and the whites, so it's really a normal thing, and it's happening, it's there. So it's how good, how better you really model your perception and how you do your feelings. That's everything. So I think with those very many remarks, and because of time, I'll just stop there. Thank you so much, and on her behalf, I'll get our apologies. Thank you so much. Sharon, back to you.
Sorry, Brian, Pondi, can check your email. I've sent you the questions.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Please.
So thank you very much.
Continue, Sharon.
Yeah, so thank you very much to our presenters, and it was an informative and an amazing session. So our next session is Q&A, the questions. So we all have your questions that you shared in the chats. So those who still have more questions, please post them in the chats, we'll have them. And before the Q&A session, you're going to have a 3 minutes break. Yeah, we have sat for so long, and health-wise, it's always recommended to stand up. Like after 45 minutes of sitting, you stand up and stretch. So you can stand up, stretch, take some water. And as you do that, I'm going to share a good song with you. But good is relative, but I think this is definitely good. This one is, let's say, paying tribute to Stella. She was supposed to come last week, but due to there were no flights that were coming, she's stuck in Japan.
Okay.
I'm up, Sharon. Where's the music? I'm up.
Yes.
DJ.
So
DJ,
yeah,
DJ,
so
where's the music?
yeah, so this is just an advice. This is just an advice. If you go abroad to go and read, just like Stella, please don't come back with a Japanese or a UK boyfriend. Just like Stella, you'll have to break your boyfriends. Yeah. So don't follow in Stella's footsteps. Go study and maybe come back if you get an opportunity there. Well and good. So we will go to the Q&A sessions. Pondi, please share the screen for the questions.
So the questions are a lot, 26 by now, okay.
Yeah, so these are the questions and we'll go through them. So the first question is, for the scholarship, could you expatriate on the requirements? I
Pondi,
don't know, I hope that is to expound.
Pondi, please download it. Then you share.
Okay.
And also just to confirm to the members is these questions, I wish we can have everyone sending in these questions in so that we can understand how impactful this presentation has been to you. So please send more questions, even if we're not going to respond today, but we shall be, we have your email addresses and we're going to give you like an overview how we responded to these questions. So please send us more questions as possible. We may not have time today to respond to the questions that we have currently because of time, because we will just want to also give people who are in China to sleep. It's exactly around, Maurice, what's the time in China?
Yeah, it's now 21:08 hours.
That is exactly 9 p.m. in China. Chris, what's the time in Australia?
It's 11:08 p.m.
That is exactly 11 p.m. So we also want to give people who are not in Africa time to sleep and time not just to prepare for tomorrow. So if you're not going to get time to respond to your questions today, we shall be sharing a Google Sheet or a Google Doc with all the responses that we're going to get tonight. So please keep on sending your questions and we shall respond to them and we shall email you back in your email addresses. So if you can hear me, Brian or Sharon, take it over.
Okay, so these are the questions. So we're going to start with the first one. Yeah, for the scholarships, could you expatriate on the requirements? I think the person, yeah, that's just some English. Maybe he's a Luo, but maybe to mean on the to expound on the requirements. Yeah, so I think Pondi talked about this, but maybe Pondi, if you don't mind, you can just go through them really quick because there's some people who are just joining. Thank you.
Okay, so it's tough to say is this for PhD or for masters. Yeah, it's but again, yeah, key things: motivation letter, the usual stuff. Let me just go through here pretty fast. And so maybe for US, for example, that should be done. No, let me just use Germany, for example. It's motivation letter, CV, stroke, which is Europass to reference letters, attested academic documents, which other lawyers can approve, right? or your university or the Ministry of Education to does that. For Germany, TOEFL is an exam, so actually this thing actually kind of listed in the country. This was just general enriching, but then it depends which country you really want to go to, and you'll find all the necessary info, which you have shared. And if you missed out, please take out of the recording. I don't want to emphasize on that to consume time. Thank you.
So, Brian, for PhD, it's also good to have a concept note or a proposal, depending on the scholarship you're applying. They normally specify.
Perfect.
That's all, Sharon.
I think
Sharon.
Sharon is maybe she has a network issue.
Okay, we can go to second question. Brian, can you read or you want me read?
Yeah, the second, is it possible to remind people of the conditionalities that come with this scholarship? Is it 2 years work experience, whether in government, NGOs? It's all big corporations. Okay, sure. Rahma, is Rahma still there? Yeah, she is. Rahma, you can unmute and talk your case maybe for Netherlands. I think it applies for most places.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, so someone is asking, is it possible to remind people of the conditionalities that come with these scholarships? Like for OKP, what are the conditions?
Okay, first of all, you have to write a motivational letter. So for OKP, they usually have themes that they inform you by an email. So what your motivational letter should be in line with those themes, so that one kind of increases your chances of you being considered for the scholarship. So other than the motivational letter, you also have to get an employer statement letter. So this is like a letter that your employer has to fill, showing like they're giving you permission to go for the 2-year study program in Netherlands. And from what you're going to study, this is what you plan to do with the knowledge that you've gained in the company afterwards. So taking into account that Kenya, unemployment rate is very low. Employment rate is very low. So that means you have to find a workaround around it. So what you do is find somebody that you've written in your CV, like an employer that you have in your CV, and convince them at least to sign that employment statement for you. Otherwise, you will not be considered for the scholarship if you don't have that. So that is very important. Once you have the motivational letter and you have the employment statement, so they then send you, I think, a link afterwards, and then you just like copy paste it there, and then you send it to them, and they consider you for, and then they kind of go through it. So they just have the motivational letter and the employment statement letter. The other things, and also your admission letter. You have first to have applied to the university that you want to go to. So once you get admission, then apply for the scholarship.
Okay, so do they need 2 years experience from you, Rahma, the OKP? Yeah.
Should I say it or no?
Yeah, just say you. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, since when I was applying for it, I was volunteering at the Mombasa County. So I used them as my employers. So the best thing about the employment letter is that it has sections, so it kind of guides you on what you have to write in each section. So that kind of makes it a bit easier for somebody to fill it out. So you write, this is an employer, this is what they do, and this is what they expect from you when you come back. So generally, yes, you might not go back to your country, but they just take it as a proof that you have been working for this person, and they term it as you're going to get experience to come and help your country. So that's the basis of it all. So my I can say it was a bit not that hectic as much, So with I think my motivational letter, I think I just focused on water security, I think, yeah. So that's what I went with, and I think I funded it by around February. By June, I'd already received a response that I was considered for it. So yeah, it gives you butterflies, let's say so.
Yeah, okay, thank you. It's good to get the scholarship just by not necessarily huge work experience, but majorly volunteering. So those guys volunteering, yeah, that counts as work experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So question number 3, some universities right now, you can tell them you can't.
I think it's a comment.
Oh, okay, so we'll skip that one. Yeah, COVID. If the university wants, if you can't, then you just have to wait until next year. Number 4, for those, okay, Canada. Yeah, Canada is a good place to, if really it's an immigrant country, if you want to, a place where you can get permit and also become a citizen pretty fast. Canada is one of them. Okay, some scholarships require application fee. Yeah, probably, but I think they usually have less applications, so it's good to try.
And Pondi, I have a comment.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so I think on where Victor says some scholarships requires application fee, I think maybe he's talking about the admission to the universities, because there are some universities, mostly in the UK, they're the ones that require an application fee, not necessarily the scholarship, but the admission to a specific university.
Okay. Okay, cool, thank you. Then there's okay, this still I recommend this scholarship on UNICEF. Sometimes they do send me the message on email that I have qualified for it, yet I haven't applied. Is this a scam? It could be possibly a scam. How did they get your email? So if you get anything you never applied for,
it's a scam.
Yeah. They lie to you, maybe you need to give certain fee and stuff for them to process. So okay, how do you guys cope with language challenges such as guys in an English-speaking countries and the culture shock? So, Morris, that's to you.
That's a very wonderful question, and
Morris? I think Morris is gone. Okay. Chris,
he's still around.
Network issue or KPLCs in China?
So it's I don't face those challenges because Australia we speak English, but culture shock is real. For example, things like gay and lesbianism, they are very normal here. But to just choose to maintain your values, it's like you just know who you are and you know your values, so that you don't let them. And you focus on, you came to study, you just focus on studying. Yeah. But for language, I don't face a challenge because it's English speaking. Maybe Morris will tell us how, because China, they speak Chinese.
Yeah, I think he has got an issue. I think, okay. Okay, for my case, I know I haven't been, I'm heading to Germany, so if the borders open in September, it isn't yet open. So definitely I'm learning the language. I know the Germans can speak English, but they don't like speaking it because they fear contradicting themselves or saying something wrongly. So they love to speak German. I did research on those, so definitely I'm learning the language. In class, it will be in English, but definitely to interact with the people outside the school and German, and also to get a good job, because most jobs require German proficiency. Okay. Can you apply for a scholarship? If Morris comes, he can talk about the China case, but we'll see. Can you apply for scholarship by simply sending an email address with all the requirements? By sending an email address. Okay, it's not clear. Or the person is saying you apply to a scholarship by sending an email. It's not pretty clear, but yeah, if you are saying this is usually how to apply. Some have portals, some like for Germans, some university needs you to send a copy of documents. So it depends. Yeah. Chris, can another student? Yeah. You're back.
Yeah, no, I'm back. I think it's some technical issues, you know.
Okay. So yeah. language barrier in China?
It's a real challenge because these guys, like, they don't really speak English, so you have to struggle. And the first thing is that you have to talk the basics, so you have to learn. You have to take time and learn for you to survive here, because not everyone understands or speaks English. So it's a real struggle, But with time, we get used to it. There's a case where sometimes we use signals like, hey, if you want something, you just point at it and say, like, I want that thing. Now you speak and they can read your mouth. They can read your lips. Like, unakuwa tu bubu kinda, then you survive, But with time, you pick words in between, you attend classes, then it becomes good, Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, where was I? Okay, Chris, this is a question to you. Can a master student do the same? Contact the supervisor directly.
Okay, I'm not sure about masters because, but my idea is that for those guys who are looking for PhD, you can actually get a scholarship by contacting the supervisor directly. I did the same, I got it, and I have friends who did the same. But for masters, it could be somehow technical. I'm not sure about Pondi about that. What do you think masters can contact the supervisor and get, like, for PhD?
Yeah, let me just speak on it. Okay, so if you have like a super good grade, what?
Oh, if I may, Chris, like the experience which I see in Kenya is like, of course, the requirement is that you need to contact a professor to stand in for you as a supervisor. So yes, you can write to a supervisor, then you to a professor, then you guys can handle it from there. So if the supervisor says, okay, this one add like 30% to weight on you, how you go, you're gonna get the scholarship. So it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, so Chris, what I want to say, it's possible. Okay, I can just only talk, for example, for US case, since there's some guys that interacted with the LinkedIn on how he did his MSc in the US, right? So yeah, you can, if you got good undergrad grades and then you're also interested in all the same professor is doing, just try your best, just contact. There is no harm in trying. That is usually yes or no binary. So if you try, you have 50% chance. If you don't try, you have none. So and so they usually give you maybe a research assistant, research training, so you can do some training to undergrad in some topics. It works also just like PhD. Some universities do that if you're good. So if you got good grades, but now this is largely dependent on grades for masters. If you got good grades for your undergrad and you know what you really want, try it, do your best. So when applying for scholarship, is it a must for visits to the embassy of the respective country offering it? No.
Not really.
No,
only visit the embassy.
The embassy when you get the scholarship, when you want the visa, but for
Yes.
application, no.
Yes.
Oh, I copied the question twice. Sorry for that. Go to question 13.
Okay. 13. What happens when a scholarship requires one to apply to the university first? How does one go about it? Does it mean I apply to the university, then go and apply scholarships for acceptance? Okay, I have experience in this, and also Rahma has experience in this, if she's still there. Rahma, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Okay, so first you really have to apply to the university for you to get admission into the university, because they cannot offer you scholarship if they don't know if you're really going to be studying in that university or not. So you really have to apply to the university first and get admittance, because that's one of the requirements for them to even consider you for the scholarship, because you have to attach your admission letter with when you're forwarding the other things for the scholarship requirements. So yeah, you need to find your study program and then apply for it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the person who asked this question, yeah, that's the case. If you want to, if the program needs you to get, the scholarship needs you to get an admission first, apply to the university first, get the letter, then use the letter to apply for the scholarship. That's how it works. For some, you just apply for the admission and you get the admission plus the scholarship combined. So yeah, how to write the perfect motivation letter, we covered this. Are there cases where one is required to approach a supervisor before in the university when applying for master's scholarship? I think I saw this in an advert or two. How do you go about it? It's just pretty the same as Chris discussed for the PhD or for master's. Yeah, just contact the Actually, you can read some nice paper and go and seduce the lecturer. Just tell them, seduce in quotes, how you like what the lecturer does, and you will be applying for that MSc. You want to work with him or her. Okay. Referees. So when having multiple scholarship application, how do you handle the referees? Is it advisable to address the specific institution or just say to whom it may concern? Once your application has gone through, can someone address how to go about it? Okay. So for my case, okay, it's good to address person specific than whom it may concern. Yes, people use this at times, but why don't you just let the person writing for the referee address the specific institution? Because that's good. It shows it's you're directed that guy. It's not so general. I don't prefer being so general. Okay, but yeah, it's you, but it will still work. But the best way, specific institution. Research funding for masters, how to access funding on that. If this person come later, we kind of talked about that, or we did it. So,
Brian,
yeah.
I'm seeing you skipped the last question. Yeah, I asked, like, once your application has gone through, can someone address how to go about the interview section successfully?
Okay, there's an interview. Okay, here. You just need to dress confidently and wait for it. You will definitely be repeating and talking about the stuff you wrote in motivation letter. So it won't be a difficult interview because generally you're just in already.
If I may add,
yeah, sure. Just
if I may add something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The thing is, like, now the supervisor wants to at least engage you and to get your potential rather than whatever you wrote. So they want now to get like first-hand information in physicality terms, you know, like, you can do this. If you can do, then, you know, it's just like confirmation, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just a confirmation. No, don't have a panic about it when you have a one-on-one interview. Okay. How do you select which countries to target for scholarships from? Okay, this basically depends on where you feel your heart lies and also where you think has more fundings to help you meet your requirements. I think that and where you just see opportunity and you think you can live there. So we listed some countries, but basically everywhere you can get scholarship, even just to study in Kenya. Okay. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. If you want a career change, how can you apply to a scholarship that is not related to your background? Sadly, Germany doesn't allow this to change background. I don't know about those other countries. Greece, Maurice, Rahma, you guys can say that. Germany,
okay, if I may add to that, okay, in the case for ITC, they go through your CV, and so for the course that you've applied for, if there's something almost related to what you want to apply to study, then they might agree with that. If not, then they send you suggested courses that you think will be applicable to you. So I remember for my case, I wanted to switch and do just generally just focus on earth observation, nothing to do with urban planning. But then, because I'd done a lot of things in urban planning and natural resources, they suggested I do urban planning or do natural resources. So that's the way it goes. So I don't know for the other cases.
Yeah, for China, I think once you are within the main major, so you can easily swap in. So the moment, like, let's say my major is maybe economics and management. So any course which lies between economics and management, I can easily swap and I can easily do it. So it's allowed in China, but you can't extend beyond the borders, you know.
So for the PhD scholarship, I might advise just do something you have interest in, because doing research at PhD level is never easy. So make sure it's something that you have interest and you love it.
Yes. So can I also share my experience?
Yes.
Yeah, so how can you change careers? Okay, I applied for MSc Earth Observation and Geoinformation Science, the Geoinformatics option. actually Rahma mentored me. So I received an email from the university and they told me, Sharon, you did BA Geography, so you cannot do geoinformatics. So what I did, I went back to the application and changed to a free specialization. So, but I think this will only apply to universities that have a free specialization, because with free specializations, now you are the one who dictates the courses and the units that you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I received an admission, so I'm waiting for a scholarship.
Okay, all the best, Sharon. Congrats and all the best.
Yeah.
So, to Brian, you mentioned that in order to get a master's degree, one of the requirements is 2 years work experience, or sometimes 1 year work experience could be accepted. I work as I did my degree before graduation. I have 2 years experience in administration. However, I haven't worked since I graduated. Does that mean I may not qualify for the scholarship? Okay, so to the person who asked this question, this was just for Germany. Yeah. For Germany, they usually need experience. This might count. It's up to you. You can also contact the university. For various the programs, they usually also have a person to inquire from. Yeah, and they will give you more info than me. Them as an insider, they let you know. Because for every program, there's usually a person to contact. That is for German case. I don't know about for other countries. But yeah, this one I was specifically saying about Germany. Yeah, they prefer you to have like 2 years work experience. And this might count. Yes, you had the experience while studying. So it might count. You see, you have even seen event volunteering count as experience. So it's okay. What are the key points to investigate when deciding which scholarship to apply? Can one apply more than one at a go? Who wants to answer this? Maurice?
Yeah. That is very possible. I think it's the best way because you don't know where your luck lies. So just apply as many as possible. So you work
sure.
with the one which comes first.
Sure, it's a game of numbers. 40 points to investigate when deciding which scholarship. You can check the reputation of the program you want. Like maybe if, so for example, if I am and I want a master's in agricultural economics in the US, I can maybe search Google top 50 universities, top 50 best universities in agricultural economics. And that's it.
Yeah, you're right, Brian.
Yeah, so that's it. You specify your topic. So let me say, like for example, MIT might be the best field in engineering, but it's not the best field in GIS in US. So like it's number one or in engineering. You see, so it varies. That's the approach you can use.
Also, wait, if I may add to that point, also the scholarship conditions as well. You should really look at that. So if it's full funding or half funding, that also should be important to you.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so that depends on what you're really looking for as well.
Yep. Thank you, Rahma. Okay, no, I think this is repeated, right? Oh yeah, it's repeated. Can you delve deeper into writing your own recommendation letters for review by professors or employers? I think we should set up a different meeting later, just talking about letters. We'll see. I think we need to dive more into this, but yeah.
Kevin also promised to share the Google link. It has some information on that.
Yeah, but if I talk about this, that will be like more 10 minutes. Okay. When it comes to recommendation letter, can one use from work referees when you can't reach a former lecturer? Does this make one a step out in getting a chance? How much weight does a recommendation letter from a lecturer have on your application as opposed to one from work experience? From a work referee. Actually, reference letter is reference letters. For some, I've used both industry and school, but for most, like you just use whichever you can get. It's just about, these guys are just to validate. It really doesn't matter who writes the letter as long as the person worked with you. Yeah, I believe they all match the same weight. The biggest weight, as I said, is about motivation letter, about you. These are just add-ons which, yeah, they contribute, but a small percentage, so don't panic about this.
Even me, Brian, I used my immediate bosses when I was applying for my scholarship, and they were contacted. So I didn't use my former university lecturers.
Yeah, Yeah, so any can work. You can decide to pick both from industry or one in the university, one in the industry.
It doesn't matter. Or even your friends.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They just these people just to validate they know you and your capabilities, blah blah, something like that. So Brian, is it possible to share your application letter? Okay, yeah, sure. I think we'll do more stuff on letter. Maybe we can plan for next weekend and just focus on letters. Yeah, and those who are applying, maybe you can also share your letters so that we discuss them with Chambua. Maybe it will be a good meeting for maybe next time or a week after. It depends. Question: can I apply for PhD even before I clear my masters? I'm about to clear my project and hoping to graduate come September 2020. Chris, I'll let you answer that.
No, Morris has experience in that. Morris, you applied for PhD scholarship. What are you told? Eh? You are told to do what? To finish first.
Yeah, actually, I think I've been told by about 2 universities. So one in New Zealand, another one in 3 actually, Netherlands, and also in Australia. So, but right now, I think when you're almost graduating, you can, because they always give that duration. Like, can you be able to present your document after maybe 2 months, 1 month? So it depends on your university again, because there are some universities I applied to, though the response was not okay, but they didn't even ask about like, when are you. The main question is like, when are you graduating? But I feel like if he's graduating in September, the time frame is just okay. You can just apply and see your now luck. I mean, where your luck lies.
Okay, guys, I didn't manage to press this one there. So, okay, this one won't work. Let me see how we can see this. There are tons of here. I think maybe we need to cover this next time when we talk about, right? Because there's so many questions here.
Yeah, there are some more questions that came in. For example, somebody asked me a question. How do you know a supervisor has an opportunity? Do they post on school's website? So sometimes they don't post. It's just like a trial. When you see a supervisor, professor for PhD scholarship, just send them an email. If they have a project, they will respond. They are more professional.
And this information, I think you can get it from what just Chris has said. More information you can get it from like for those who are in economics. We have like economics Twitter on economics Twitter hashtag on Twitter, and you can always follow them on LinkedIn and on Twitter, or just professional social media, so that maybe when they post, you can always see them and you can always follow them and you can always send them an email and like show your interest in whatever you want. Yeah, Brian.
Okay, yeah, sure, thanks. Okay, someone is asking here, where can you get those supervisors? Yeah, just simply go to, as I said, you can start with the best university in agricultural economics in Australia, for example. You like, go to the website, you'll get the name of the professor. If you search the faculty, they are there, just contact them. At times they tend to have the opportunity and they have the money, but maybe they haven't even have time to advertise, or they're not yet advertising. They plan to advertise, but if you contact them, good for you. They even see, they'll just tell you, okay, there's this project I plan to start come November, apply. Okay, template for any university.
If I may, Brad.
Yeah.
Like it's very simple. A university has a website, and each and every department has those subset and subsequent websites.
Yeah.
So in a faculty, they have all their staff members with all their accounts, their portal details. The students they are supervising, like the projects they have, the current one or the end one, the report. Yeah, so you see, you get everything. So you can simply call them or you can email them. So it's really, really, really important,
Yeah. So you guys, what you're trying to say here also, Google is your best friend. Okay? Google is your best friend.
Yes.
Make good use of it. Make good use of it. You'll get these supervisors, they are there. In every department, they have the websites are there. Okay? Okay, now actually it is possible with distance learning fellowship Commonwealth for Commonwealth. Okay, I'm not sure what you are. No, Sharon, you're answering someone here. I don't know what was the question. Can someone get scholarship but still do like online learning from Kenya? Okay, you've been answered there. Template for any university in US, Netherlands, Ireland. What do you mean by Aja Blessing? Are you Nigerian? The name is affiliated to Nigeria mostly.
Template for any university.
If I you can unmute if you're Nigerian. I want to get your accent. I used to have some awesome Nigerian friends. So yeah. What does it mean? Templates?
She's unmuted. She's unmuted. She can speak.
Okay. Blessing, you can speak.
Hey, I'm unmuting. Yeah, she can speak.
Blessing?
Yes.
Okay, you can speak. Oh, it's a guy. Good. What do you mean by template for any university in the Netherlands Island? What are you asking specifically? It's not clear to me. Aja Egbo, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Aja Egbo.
Okay. We are not getting you.
Muted again. Maybe you can continue.
Yeah, we'll continue. You're mentioning undergraduate grades matter. What about master's grades? Don't the PhD required to show they passed the undergraduate and masters? How do you get a supervisor who has an opportunity for a PhD? Hey, for undergraduate grades, I was speaking about majorly where they matter mostly. I was talking about if you want to work as a research assistant, like mostly for US, because they don't have so much scholarships for masters. When it comes to, apart from the Fulbright, which was mentioned, and a few others, they do have tons of sponsoring for PhD, but for masters, yes, if you just need to talk for professor about that. But yeah, but grades tend to contribute, kind of, but don't focus much on it.
We answered the second part of the question, so you can continue. How do you get a supervisor? I think you have answered.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I'm lost. Someone has messaged me privately and it has stated where I was.
The next question is, do positions held in university count as work experience, i.e. position? So I think, yes, they count as work experience.
Yes, they count. Volunteership,
Lecturing or a research assistant.
Yes, those counts. I need clarification. Okay, Rahma said that to get a scholarship, one must gain admission to the university first. Do I apply first as a regular student hoping to get scholarship, maybe? Yes, this applies to your ITC. Let me just save Rahma's time. Rahma?
Yeah.
Or we can just answer, okay, if you're there, yeah. So, some clarification here.
Okay, so yes, you apply as a regular student. Okay, so for ITC, when you're applying, they usually give you an option, like this, like sort of like a checkbox. If you want to get the if you want to apply for the OKP, so you check it, and then after that now you continue now with the process. So that's the way it go. I don't know, for mine, that's the way it went. So I don't know if they've changed it so far. So Salome, I don't know if she could expound on her recent experience, because what I did was before you have to check a box saying you want to apply for the OKP scholarship as you're applying for the admission. And then once you get the admission, now you continue applying for the scholarship.
Yeah. That also worked for my case when I was applying for Netherlands. It was the same. You apply, you check, you say you want to try your luck on the scholarship. And when you get to, you with applying for the scholarship. Okay, Salome, are you there? Oh, she's gone.
Salome is not around.
Oh, Her Majesty is not there. Okay, good. But she should be here. She was pressuring me to when I delayed the 2 minutes. Okay.
No, she's there. She's there.
Let me unmute her. She's there. Yeah.
Yes, I was wondering where is Her Majesty. Salome.
Yes, hi.
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 I'm still on, but regarding the application, the scholarship application. So my application was for the OKP, the one that I did. I'm actually waiting for the final results. You able to get me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the results around June. So for the application, first you need to apply to the university. Like mine, I applied to Wageningen University. Okay, the rating is Wageni. So my application, I did the university first. So admission, and then there are several scholarships. The ASP scholarship something, and then there is the OKP others. So first, and then after that, they send you an invitation from the university. After you get an admission, they send you an invitation on email. Then that is where you begin the process of application now for the scholarship. So like the one I did, I applied to the university, I got an admission. Then they sent me an email to an invite. It's actually an invitation they send on email so that now you can apply to for the scholarship. After they send you an invite, then you apply, you make your application, you send the motivation letter, you send the admission, the letter of admission to the university, and also you send the employer statement. So then after that, again, they nominate you, the university nominates you, and then now they send it to the Netherlands embassy to complete the process. So first you apply to citation now, that is when you gear. Yeah, that is it for the OKP, that is.
Thank you, Salome.
Thank you. So someone is asking, can you really sound switch to win a scholarship? Unfortunately, there's a conflict of leaving those that depend on us from livelihood behind. Cannot be allowed to engage in a side hustle while under scholarship program? Okay, some allow, some do not. For Germany, only for Germany, you're allowed to work up to a maximum of 20 hours per week.
Same with Australia. You can work for 20 hours depending on your contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
in China, we are very specific, and we believe that you came to learn, so there's no working. That one, you don't work. There's no allowance.
Yeah, so it varies with scholarship and what. Like Erasmus Mundus doesn't allow, but some allow. So it depends, with the kind. Yeah. Okay, wow, thank you guys. You responded to most. Okay. Make Google your friend.
Morris 2020. They should have said Morris et al. Why Morris alone?
This was my quote actually. It should be Brian et al. Okay, so for master scholarship, do they consider performance in the undergraduate as in the GPA? Yes.
Yes.
Scholarship, actually most, some not really, but yeah, most tend to consider. Just good to, so on the safer side to have at least from upper second. Yeah. Would someone explain the process of internship abroad? Rahma, are you doing an internship right now, or we are focused on thesis due to Corona?
I already finished my internship in January.
Okay.
Okay.
So about internship in Netherlands.
So for us, okay. So for ITC, they have like okay, it's a weird program. So for the MGO students, like that's us, the people doing masters in geoinformation. For them, internship is not mandatory, but if you're a student doing spatial engineering, your internship is mandatory. So it's like you get 15 ECs if you do internship. So that means you don't have to do an elective. So for the internship process, what you do is that we usually have like an internship fair. So some companies are invited to school, and then like they talk about the company, and if you're interested, you can talk to them and then apply to them. So we have an internship coordinator. So you go to her, you kind of discuss some things, and then she kind of guides you on how to go about it. But then the process is all you. You're the one who has to reach to the companies. You're the one who has to apply and push for you to get an internship. So after that, then okay, yeah. Majorly they have a lot of career fairs. So it's just a matter of you looking where you want to really go for internship. So after then you go, they give like a maximum is 7 weeks for internship. But you can always extend if you want. So the internship can be related to what you're doing for your thesis, or could be totally separate. So it depends with you. So some internship, maybe if it's related to your thesis, that means the data you're going to collect comes from the internship organization. If it's not related to your thesis, then it's just like you have to work out a plan with the organization on what you're going to be doing for the 7 weeks. So it's called an internship plan. So you sit with the organization, you discuss, this is what you're going to be doing for the 7 weeks, and then you get a supervisor from school who's going to be handling how you're doing things. So after that, you write an internship report, and then you get your marks from there.
Okay, thank you, Rahma. Yeah, most universities do also have the career office, so they can help if you're in that foreign country, I believe so. Yeah. So,
Pondi.
yeah, it was thank you, Duncan. Yes?
I have a request. So it's almost midnight, so we could I need to work on my assignment.
Yeah, everyone is saying thank you. That's why I was taking it back to Sharon.
Okay.
So in Netherlands, Rahma said you can work a maximum of 10 hours. It has been an intensive 3 hours. Thank you guys for turning up. I'll just give it to Sharon to wrap it up. Then we call it alive. Thank you, everyone. From my side, thank you for showing up. I wish you all the best. I hope you have gained a lot. And yeah, if there's any issue, just raise it in the group. We can present another, if you want another topic, maybe just focus on motivation later again, or something else, just let us know in the group. We'll do that, okay? So Sharon, back to you to do the closure.
Yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to those who attended, and thank you to our presenters. Yes. So we are going to share a feedback. You're going to share a feedback form that okay, please mute everybody, Morris. We're going to share a feedback form. Yeah, just help us to improve on our future presentations. And at the same time, you're going to share a link to all the resources that you recorded. And this meeting was also recorded. It will be up on my YouTube channel. We are going to share which channel with all of you guys. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for today. We have, okay, actually we also have some groups. We also have one of the groups. It's called Scholarships Hub. Yeah, so you can also join there. There's some good people who share scholarship opportunities.
You may also share the link with us.
Yeah, so that's all from me. Yes, I'll share the link with you. So that's all from me. Maybe Kelvin, can you share the link to the scholarships group in the chat? Thank you very much.